Hello and welcome to a new week. We are in the M8 on Silverstone and this time on the new tire model. You have to be really smooth on the exits to get the best out of the new tires. They punish every slide, and due to the high speed layout of the track, those mistakes will scale up and cost you many seconds. Let's make sure this won't happen to you. Drive onto the curb to get a wider entry for turn 1. The way you can take this turn depends highly on your session and the balance of the car. This includes the weather, tires, setup, etc. During your first practice laps you should figure out if you can get away with lifting once you reach this curb. If you struggle to keep the car under control, simply tap the brakes, consider shifting down if needed. Attack the inside, you can even drive a bit further across the curb than I did. Try to get close to the track limits and be aggressive on the throttle. Stay on the inside and exit the turn on the far left. Sometimes it can be difficult to stay on the throttle. Don't force it and adjust your throttle input whenever you feel that you go wide or the car gets loose. Point the car towards the 50-meter board and use the 100-meter board and the curb to find your braking point. Trail brake into the turn and attack the apex. Once you are past this turn, you want to hit the throttle and push the car to the middle right of the track. That way you get a nice and wide angle for the hairpin. Hit the brakes and slow down. You really don't want to overshoot the turn, since there's not much time you can gain anyway. The most important thing is getting a solid exit onto the short straight. Be patient while you turn the car, attack the inside and try to hit the throttle right at the apex. Use the curb on the exit but avoid the gravel at all costs. The new tires get stuck in it and it will slow you down. Approach the next turn on the far right. You can drive onto the curb to get an even better angle for your turn in. Use the 100-meter board as orientation for braking. Be smooth on the brakes and decelerate deep into the turn. You want to stay on the curb and accelerate again once you reach the orange markers. The next turn is important because another straight is coming up. Stay on the right and hit the brakes once you reach the curb. You can use the corner and the grass to have an additional point as orientation. Transition into trail braking and turn in along the curb to take your momentum deep into the turn. From this point on you let the car swing towards the center of the track. Keep slowing down until you reach the apex. It's marked by the second orange curb. At this point you want to turn the car back towards the curb and engage the throttle. This gives you a smooth exit and a nice run onto the straight. Understanding this corner is an important key to mastering this track, so let's take another look at it from the top. You enter along the inside, swing towards the middle of the track, turn the car back towards the curb and hit the throttle. That's it. Drive onto the curb again and tap the brakes between the 100 and 50-meter boards. You want to attack the inside and be early on the throttle to carry as much momentum as possible into the S's. The next combination is fast paced and doesn't leave you a big margin for any mistakes. Develop a strategy with which you want to attack it. Use your practice runs to burn this strategy into your mind so that you can focus entirely on racing once the lights go green. I will share my approach and give you additional examples which you can add to yours. First of all, you want to enter the first turn from the far right. I stay on the throttle and aim for the first curb. I lift once the car hits the curb and immediately begin to turn into the next right-hander. Attack the inside and drive over the curb. You have to figure out if you want to stay in your current gear or shift down. That depends on the weather conditions and your setup. The most common approaches are shifting down once after every turn or shifting down twice in the second last turn. I've decided to stick to the 5th gear for now and keep the car rolling. I'm also using a small trick to keep the car on the line. I hit the throttle for a split second while I'm going through the apex. If you do this, you give the car a small push towards the direction you want to go and speed up the rotation. This opens up additional space, which allows you to take a slightly wider entry into the next turn. Tap the brakes and attack the curb again. I decided to shift down twice at this point. Again, this is something you have to figure out for yourself in your session because it can differ. I tap the throttle again like before to push the car deeper into the turn. We are heading into the last turn. You want to be around the middle of the track while turning in. Adjust your speed, aim for a smooth line and try to carry as much momentum as possible onto the straight. Use the boards on the left and the curb as orientation for braking. Turn in and hug the curb along the exit. My entry is not ideal, I'm hitting the curb a bit too early. Ideally you want to touch it around the orange marker. If you hit it earlier, you risk going too wide on the exit. Which also happened to me. I was lucky and didn't got an incident point, but as mentioned you can avoid a close call here by hitting a later apex. Use the 100 meter board as orientation for braking and stay on the far right. Attack the inside but avoid the red curb. You can hit it like it happened to me on this run and it won't kill your lap, but it costs you some time. A car which is driving on 2 wheels won't turn as good as a car which is driving on all 4. Be patient on the throttle and aim for a tight run around the curb. Let the car swing to the outside to get a smooth run around the last turn. It can be tricky, especially in hot conditions, because there's a small bump which can unsettle the rear. That's the lap. The cockpit lap with telemetry will come up next. If you have any suggestions for other cars and tricks, please post them with the hashtag guide in the comments. I wish you all the best for your races and see you next time!